So, this happened last night. That is not my car, but that is my father's car. I will explain what happened. So, I'm watching my friend's dogs this weekend because she and her family are away on vacation, and I watch their dogs when they're away sometimes. It snowed, like, a decent amount last night. Like, I think it was, like, 6 inches or something. And I am not the best driver, and my car is not that great in the snow, so I asked my dad if he could drive me, so he did. My friend lives at the top of a very, very steep hill. Like, let's say this is the top of the hill. Her house is, like, down here. And I don't even drive down her driveway on a normal day, like with no snow, because I will get stuck down there. So my dad misses the driveway when he passes it because it's also like kind of hidden. I go, oh, you missed the driveway. So he starts backing up. He backs up onto their lawn. He gets off the road onto their lawn. He starts slipping backwards because it's like, it's very, very steep. He couldn't get back on the road because of the snow, or I don't know if it's just because it was that steep. I don't know if that would have happened like if it wasn't snowing, but the snow definitely made it worse. So I'm freaking out and I'm like, oh my God, like we're gonna die. And my dad's yelling at me to stop freaking out. I'm like, okay, can I get out of the car? Because I'm worried if I get out of the car, the whole car is going to start, like, rolling. Because, like, that's what it felt like. Like, that's how much of an incline it felt like. But I got out of the car fine. Like, I was fine. But my dad wanted to get his car out. And he refused to call a pickup truck or, like, a tow truck or whatever. No, why pickup truck? Tow truck. To, like, get him out. Because he's like, oh, I don't want to pay them. But, like, dog, what's worth more? Okay, whatever the tow truck is gonna cost, or your life, or, you know, your whole car, too. Like, your whole car could get really damaged doing this. So then the next door neighbors come out, and they're like, hey, stop doing that. Like, you're only digging yourself deeper. Because my dad is, like, trying to drive, but he's stuck, and he's, like, making a bunch of smoke and, like, tearing up the lawn. I'm like, oh my God, can you stop? And so the neighbors are also saying, like, hey, stop that. And then he goes, okay, go inside and take care of the dogs. And I'm like, okay. And I figured he was gonna call a tow truck because, you know, that's the rational thing to do. That's not what he did. I get halfway down the driveway, I walk down the driveway, and then I see the car trying to get out again, and I'm screaming at this point. I'm like, stop! And I'm like, I have an ear-piercing, like ear-shattering scream. So I'm going, stop, 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 and the other neighbors have gone inside at this point. The neighbors across the street then come out, and this dude's like, why are you screaming? And I'm like, my dad's, like, gonna kill himself doing this, you know? Obviously, I said it a little more upset than that, but yeah. And then he was like, where do you live? And I'm like, oh, my friend lives in the same town as me, so I said the town that we live in. And I was like, I live a few streets away, because I do. I live like 5 minutes away from her house. This guy was also like, who are you? And I was like, I'm watching this family's dogs. He's like, who is that? I'm like, this is my dad. And when he asked me, like, why are you screaming? And I said, like, because my dad's gonna kill himself. He's like, why don't you tell him to stop? I'm like, he won't listen to me. Like, that's the whole problem. Because the car continuously was sliding back down the lawn too. Like, he was going to get very hurt if he continued doing this. That's why I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna watch my father perish in front of my eyes tonight. And then he walks up to my dad and he's like, what the hell are you doing? And my dad's like, I need to get my truck out of here. And then he's like, I'm a fireman or whatever, and like he accuses my dad of also like being drunk, which he wasn't. Like, he's like this on a normal day, unfortunately. And the fireman guy was like, you want to step outside and like fight me, basically? I was like, And this guy is actually very nice too, because another time I was watching their dogs on Christmas this year, or I guess last year, my car, like, the battery stopped working and I couldn't get the hood open because the hood of my car is broken. So this guy actually helped me open the hood. So I like know him as a very nice guy. I was like, oh my God, Father, why are you like starting an argument with this guy? Like, I don't want this to reflect on me. So then I went, I'm so sorry to this guy, because my dad was, you know. I don't really remember exactly what happened after this, but my dad ended up saying, like, just go inside and take care of the dogs. And I think I was, like, pretty sure he wasn't gonna start driving again since everybody else was out here. So I was like, okay, fine. So I did. I let them out, let them back in, and whatever. And then I came back out, and suddenly, they were all chill. Like, they weren't fighting anymore. And this guy actually very kindly helped my dad tow his car out of the, front lawn of my friend's house, I guess. And they just, like, tied a rope to the front of my dad's car in the back of this dude's truck, and he pulled it out. He was very nice, like, after all of that, so really appreciated it. This guy proceeds to tell me that I should audition for horror movies because of how horrifying my scream was. But I was going, like, I wasn't, like, just, like, going, I was saying words. I was going, like, Dad, stop. But yeah, they were very nice, very kind of them, especially after my dad was, like, very rude to them. I felt really bad about that. But then we got home and I couldn't remember if I let one of the dogs in, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I let him in. I wouldn't have left the house unless I let him in. But I made my dad drive me back because I was like, there's no way I can, like, go to sleep if he's still outside because he would freeze to death. But I came back and they were both in the house, but I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, they're fine. The dogs are fine. My dad's car is fine. Their front lawn is not fine. And I told my friend about this and she was like, it's fine. Like, this happens. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I'll show you more pictures. This is another angle of that. So That was terrible. That was horrible.